I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. See, we was cool right before it hit the fence, but it hit the fan when I got him down and pinched. But I took a break, I had to leave and go get cleansed. God forgive me for all my sins. I can't say these hoes, cause my last name ain't Kent. Cooking on the stove, that's the way he paid the rent. Working on the pole, that's the way she paid tuition. Better watch your soul, cause you know they trying to get it. Yeah, yeah. I learned my right from wrong on a song. I let my heart bleed on my sleeve through microphones. I'm trying to right my wrongs by writing out my wrongs. Ran through a check, cause it's hard to live off bread alone. So if you see me slipping, yeah, yeah, let me know. Cause it ain't the end of times yet, I know, but it's getting close. Yeah, I need my space to breathe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live and we are in color. My name is Keyshawn Housey and welcome to This Is What I Think. I'm your host for this week and well, this is what I think. Now, first things first, I got to give y'all a little bit of an introduction, right? My name is Keyshawn Housey, born and raised right here in Savannah, Georgia. I love this city. I love this city, and I believe in this city, and I believe that this city can go places. I believe that the people in this city, we have so much potential that is untapped at this time. And once we tap into that energy, Savannah, we can literally make magic happen. Now, we're going to go over a number of different topics today that I feel like are important on the local, state, and national level. But before I do that, I want to, number one, give y'all a little bit more information about myself, but we're going to invoke the ancestors. Because a mentor of mine once said that when an ancestor passes, a library burns. And, you know, we've had a lot of libraries burning over these past few days. I'm just going to go in the past few weeks alone. We've had the likes of James Earl Jones, Tina McElroy Anza, Rich Homie Quan, Frankie Beverly, Fat Man Scoop, Tito Jackson. They have all ascended to the land of the ancestors, and I honestly don't want to continue on until I speak on them for just a little bit. Now, before I get into that, I want to send a message to everybody, specifically to our Black media. Thank you for our Black media for even allowing myself and so many others the platform to speak our piece, to really commentate on the issues that are ongoing in this community and abroad. With that said, support your local media. You know, we've seen reports, especially in recent weeks, that, you know, local media ain't what it used to be. You know, we just had Connect Savannah essentially shut down, all but shut down. You know, the Savannah Morning News ain't what it is. You know, local news is becoming more and more passe. You have other organizations like The Current stepping in. You have organizations like the Savannah stepping in to provide that missing link, to provide the local media that we so desperately need, because the powers that be, the powers that control journalism in the city, don't want certain things to come out. They don't want certain things to be discussed in the hopes that you will forget, in the hopes that you won't bring those matters up to the power brokers of this city. Support your local Black media. Support local media. Thank you, our Black media and all things relevant media, for this platform, the platform you've given so many others in this community at large. But I said we was going to talk about the ancestors. We're going to talk about the ancestors. Number one, Tito Jackson. He passed away, I believe, yesterday. I didn't realize that if it wasn't for Tito, It's funny because I've seen the American Dream, the Jackson story, and I remember that scene of Tito breaking the string on his daddy's guitar, and well, he suffered the consequences for it. Joe Jackson in the movie and in real life, he was a person that you didn't necessarily want to play with. However, if it was not for Tito breaking that string, and you've heard it all over the media, if it wasn't for Tito breaking that string, we wouldn't have the Jackson 5. If it wasn't for Tito breaking that string, we wouldn't have Michael Jackson. If it wasn't for Tito breaking that string, we wouldn't have Janet. And quite frankly, we wouldn't have the lineage of Black music and Black entertainment that we do today. All of the artists that we enjoy have taken some inspiration from the Jacksons and their work and their legacy and their talents. 70 years old, he passed. And the fact that it overshadowed one particular event, which we will get into later on in this broadcast, it is amazing how much Black people, Black culture, were able to kind of compartmentalize things. But Tito Jackson is with the ancestors now. Frankie Beverly and Maze. There is not a single event you can go to within the Black community without hearing at least one of his songs. You want to talk about the cultural soundtrack. Mind you, Frankie Beverly and Maze, they were able to tour off the music and perform all over the world based on the music they created back in the 70s and 80s. Before I Let Go, Happy Feelings. Before I Let Go, which of course we know Beyonce covered. Ain't nothing like the original. Much love to Beyonce, but ain't nothing like the original. I think about Frankie Beverly and Maze, and I think about my stepfather, who's also ascended to the ancestors. I believe this had to be one of his favorite songs, because this particular song is etched into my memory, because this would be the song I'd hear in his car riding to school every day whenever he would pull up to the house we had lived in together. The song was called When I'm Alone. Do, 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 do. I'm not going to sing the lyrics because I quite frankly don't remember the lyrics right now. However, again, you cannot go to a single function in the African American community without hearing his music. He passed away, I believe, at 77. A life well lived. Oh, God damn it. A life well lived. Which homie Quan? He passed, I believe, at 34. A number of weeks ago. Which homie Quan, I mind you, it's more hip hop, rap, the soundtrack of my high school career. As a matter of fact, it was funny. I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and we were in the middle of our conversation when she literally exclaimed that Rich Homie Quan died. Now, you know the way media works. You know, you see the report come out on social media. My first instinct was to go on Google. Maybe TMZ would have reported it. Maybe, you know, if this was a legitimate source of news, if this was legit information coming out, I would have seen it somewhere. I got a screenshot. I didn't believe it at first. Unfortunately, he passed due to a suspected overdose at 34. Again, the soundtrack of my high school career, which was about 10 years ago. He was one of the a younger black man, passed away. Again, you think about the music that defines a generation, which Homie Quan runs within that lineage. Fat Man Scoop. Who could ever forget Drop? Who could ever forget Lose Control? I think about those particular songs. That was the early 2000s. These were some of the first songs that I heard and that I remember, listening, getting ready for school every day, listening to those songs on the radio, back and forth from school. Who doesn't like to Lose Control? Again, a hype man was his trade. He passed away doing what he loved at age 56. He passed away, however, doing what he loved the most, and that was entertaining the people. I don't know about y'all, but I saw the video. He literally, his last words on this earth was, "If you want a party, make some noise." And it seemed to me that the Almighty wanted to make some noise. Age 56, he went on to the ancestral realm. Suspected due to complications from COVID. We might get into a little bit of that later tonight. James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones, of course, he was Mufasa. He was able to make a bag two times over for his voice, the powerful, booming voice of James Earl Jones. A formidable actor both on screen and on the stage. Othello, Sandlot. Like I said, he was a part of the Lion King. He was the original voice for Darth Vader. These people at 94. He passed at 94 a number of days ago. You want to talk about a life well lived. He was able to live a long life, outlive a lot of his contemporaries. With James Earl Jones, there's one thing in particular I want to speak on. Now, of course, I just mentioned some of the more famous films he's been a part of. I would like everyone to take some time. I believe it's still on YouTube. I would like everybody to take some time at some point to look up a movie that James Earl Jones did. He starred in by the name of The Road to Freedom, the Vernon Johns story. In that particular movie, it was an adaptation of the life of Vernon Johns. I remember when I attended Georgia Southern, specifically in the Africana Studies program, my professor at the time, Dr. Saba Jallo, one of the more memorable aspects of that class was us watching a movie based on the life of Vernon Johnson. Like I just said, it was portrayed by James Earl Jones. Vernon Johns was the immediate predecessor to Dr. Martin Luther King, as Vernon Johns was the pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. Vernon Johns was deemed too radical for the pulpit of Dexter Avenue. And he, in his time, as pastor, he really encouraged the community at large to really stand up for themselves against the racial discrimination and segregation that was Birmingham, Alabama at the time. Unfortunately, he had his dealings with the KKK, as well as his dealings with the church leadership at the time, to which, unfortunately, he was pushed out of that leadership position within the church. And like I mentioned, his immediate successor was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And well, do we not know what happened next in that particular story? If it wasn't for Vernon Johns, we may not have seen a Dr. Martin Luther King rise up. James Earl Jones took the time to bring his life story to the screens. And for that, I'm grateful. And then finally, in this most recent string of passings, and I made a post on her on my Instagram because I had the opportunity to meet her in real life. And of course, I'm going to take some time now. I want to speak on the passing of Tina McElroy Anza. She was a native. Mind you, she passed away a number of days ago at the age of 73. I'm sorry, 74. Tina McElroy Anza was a native of Macon, Georgia, and she spent the rest of her life residing here, the Sea Island, specifically St. Simon's Island. She was an author of African American literature, most famously known for her books of fiction, bringing forth the ancestors, bringing forth the spirits, incorporating magic into her stories, intersecting that with the struggles of not only African American life, but of African American womanhood. Her books, The Baby of the Family, The Hand I Wave With, The Hand I Fan With, my apologies, The Hand I Fan With. Specifically, The Baby of the Family. I remember coming across that book a number of years ago from my former African American literature professor. And I remember becoming a real big fan of that book. Again, you'll come to realize for me pretty quickly that I'm a big fan of magic. I'm a big fan of the unknown in that sense. And so her words really captivated me. And I had the opportunity to meet her last year. It was an event held at the Beach Institute. It was hosted by the Links, and the Links brought together authors from the community at large to come together and really showcase their work, showcase their literature, showcase their books. And I remember seeing that she was going to be a part of that event, and I just knew that I wanted to meet her. I wanted her to sign my books, and I got the opportunity. I got the opportunity to do just that. And I was able to talk with her for a little bit of time. Mind you, she was in the middle of signing books, and she was getting ready to talk about her latest book, an anthology. Not an anthology, a collection of short pieces by other African American women authors and writers. But I just remember talking with her, and I remember her asking me, did I write anything? And at the time, I wrote a little bit, but they were mainly poetry and spoken word. And I remember her being so excited about that prospect. And I remember her, telling me that we should connect, that she would like to have read my poetry, some of my writings, offer me some critique. And you know what? I even follow her on Twitter, now known as X. I even follow her on that platform. And you think you have all the time in the world. I regret to inform you all that I regretfully did not follow up with her. I didn't get a chance to share with her my writings and the potential critiques that she could have had for my writing. Then I messed that one up. I'll never know. However, since meeting her, I continued to write. Really an inspiration of her. I continued to write and really hone in on my abilities and really just write more. So since then, I've written more poetry. I've written more spoken word pieces, of which, well, I'm not going to debut now, but they will debut shortly in future pieces that I write. They will be dedicated to the memory and the legacy of Tina McElroy Anza. Like I said at the very top, whenever an ancestor dies, the library burns. And we've lost so many libraries over the past few weeks. And the only things that are certain in this life are taxes and death. And so, the dash. What do we do in between that dash? That's the legacy that we leave behind. And all of these names that I've just mentioned, by God, they have left a legacy in which may never be duplicated. And hell, as long as I'm around, will never be forgotten. I don't have any plants nearby. Otherwise, I would do a libation right at this moment. I will do so after this show concludes. Yes, I know. I'm watching the time. That was my producer in the back letting me know that we got a commercial break. We got to pay the bills somehow. With that said, let's go on commercial break. I'll see you right here.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
I'm Patty Hewitt, and I'm worried about our future.
Last one?
I think about my grandkids and the belief that they deserve every opportunity. And what you deserve, what coastal Georgia deserves, is someone who cares more about their community than about corporate profits and big pharma.
I'll see you later.
All right, thank you. Small business owners and hardworking Georgians are the heart of our community.
Have a good day.
Not CEOs, not lobbyists, not shareholders, but who's taking care of them? It's time to ask yourself, what do you want from your government? This is our year to stand up against what we know is wrong. No more DC politicians invading our home life. No more racism that kills dreams and spreads violence. And no more corporate greed at the expense of workers' rights and our environment.
So what would be the most meaningful help to you?
I've spent the last 8 years working behind the scenes, mobilizing our communities for positive change. And while that is really important work, I can't stand by and allow the same tired politicians to run this country. the same ones who've neglected the real needs of Georgians. I'm ready to take our seat in Congress so I can fight for you and your families.
I vote for you.
Thank you, my darling. I love you. This isn't about party lines. This is about voting for a better future for more Georgians. Enough is enough.
Welcome back to This Is What I Think. I am your host, Keyshawn Housing. And, you know, I realize I kind of suck at introducing myself. So for those who don't know, my name is Keyshawn Housing, lifelong resident of Savannah, Georgia. I'm a proud alum of Saul C. Johnson High School, the best high school in Savannah, Georgia. And I'm an alum of Georgia Southern University, particularly in Statesboro. I'm a big fan of the Statesboro campus. Now, they have their issues, but I see myself as an activist, a bit of a community historian, really somebody who gives a damn about the people of the city. Somebody, like I mentioned at the top, I see Savannah in a light where we have a lot of power here. We have a lot of power. And the position that Savannah holds in the world, we are truly an international city. And I believe what makes Savannah Savannah is the people every day that get up and go to work, whether it be on the ports, whether it be in the movie industry, whether it be in the tourism industry. Everybody here in Savannah has a role to play in her success. As such, I also believe that whenever the opportunity arises for us to utilize our voice, we need to take advantage of that. And we need to utilize every single tool at our disposal to wield the power that we have here. Like I mentioned at the top, I intend for this to be a space where I commentate on the issues that affect us on the national, state, and local level. As a matter of fact, a lot of y'all may see this later on as I'm speaking, maybe wrap it up now, but the debate for Chatham County DA, elections matter. Elections matter. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be as high up as the presidency, or it could be down here as it comes to our local district attorney race, it's our local sheriff's race. All of those elections matter because they affect us on the day-to-day. Now, I'm going to start here from the top. I have some things I want to talk about on the national level. I'm going to start from the bottom here. Javion McGee from Henderson, North Carolina. For those who do not know, Javion McGee was from Chicago, Illinois, and he was a truck driver making stops in the North Carolina area where he was essentially found hanging from a tree. Mind you, Javion was a young African-American male. He was found hanging from a tree in Henderson, North Carolina, and the authorities in Henderson are currently stating that it was a suicide. You know, McGee, he found some rope and he hung himself. Now, the family don't believe it. I don't believe it. The family and other leaders are pushing for a real investigation of sorts. And it's moments like those where I have to think about it, and I have to wonder, how much progress have we really made over the last 100 plus years? I am reminded of Ida Wells Barnett and how she went in the South and in different parts of America to cover the stories of African Americans being lynched, often without real consequences to the people of those areas, to the people who committed those lynchings. And I think about the work they did to get us to this point now. So again, it seems like nothing's really changed. A man was lynched today. I want to ask, when will it stop? But of course, the way this country is configured, this country was founded on the oppression and the mass death of African Americans, Black people. I expect for there to be an investigation. Will it yield the results that the people need? Will it yield the results that the family need? If history is to be of any indicator, it's not that likely. But I have to remain optimistic, because I would like to live in an America where this does not happen on a daily basis. I would like to live in an America where this doesn't happen at all. But for that to happen, this country will have to deal with her anti-Blackness. And ultimately, this country will need fundamental change. This country will need some fundamental change. And I have to believe that we will see that in our lifetime. I have to believe that I will see that in my lifetime. Whenever I have kids, I have to believe that they will see that in their lifetime. Now, I want to move a little bit from North Carolina. I want to talk about something that's been going on a little bit further up north in Ohio. Now, I've seen the memes on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to call X by Twitter because Twitter is the government name. I don't care what Elon Musk done did. Elon Musk, I don't want to waste too much energy on him. But I saw various videos from the debate of Trump talking about how people are eating cats and dogs. They're eating people are eating various wildlife up in the area, and they're attributing this to the Haitian people, Haitian refugees. Mind you, why do we even have refugees? Why do we have a mass immigrant problem in this country? The United States is the richest nation in the world, the most powerful nation in the world. You want to know why we have such an issue with the border? Because the things we do, the things this country do to maintain its status in the world is often done at the cost of so many, including the people of Palestine. We're repping Palestine here. including the people of Haiti. Vice presidential hopeful, current Senator J.D. Vance has since admitted that these were made up claims. You want to talk about misinformation and disinformation. He admitted that these were made up claims of Haitian refugees in Springfield, Ohio, eating cats and dogs, which have since prompted outrage amongst the white community members there, which has prompted fear and a series of threats to the Haitian community there, which, again, people are trying to make light of this. This is not a laughing matter. This isn't a joke, because ultimately what's going to end up happening is the people who have spreaded that misinformation, they don't care that the people targeted are Haitian specifically. They're black. Their skin color is black. And as such, the violence that is currently being threatened upon to the Haitian people is violence that will ultimately come to the front doorsteps of Black Americans in that area. And has that ever really boded well from us? Has that ever really boded well for us? There was a celebration that was supposed to occur in Ohio. It had to be canceled. They were supposed to celebrate essentially cultural unity within that community. It had to be canceled. Young people going to school in that community, they essentially had to pull their kids out of school for fears of retaliation. I remember seeing posters of I don't even think it's a local chapter. It is a chapter from outside the state. A chapter of the KKK, basically using that moment to stir up fears and to essentially recruit. And also, and this is specifically for Black people, for the Black people who are spreading these claims, spreading this misinformation, I have to look at you sideways, because you lack knowledge of history. Mind you, if it wasn't for the people of Haiti, the United States as we know it would not exist. The people of Haiti beat the armies of Napoleon Bonaparte in the 1800s, and it essentially bankrupted France to the point where they had to sell off a good piece of territory here in what's now known as the United States. That piece of land came in the form of what we know today as the Louisiana Purchase. The Black people in America, as well as the world over, we have to thank Haiti for her sacrifices and their continued subjugation by various Western powers, including the United States. Because again, the United States does not become the superpower it is today without the exploitation of Haiti and so many other nations. Trump talked about that in the debate a number of days ago, And you want my opinion on the debate? I think Vice President Harris, if there was a winner, right, I would say the VP won, right? However, Vice President Harris in that debate talked about several things that I care about, in which really didn't get too much airtime. There was about a sentence and a half dedicated that whole debate to climate change. I don't know how anyone can be for, or I don't know how anybody can call themselves an advocate for climate while also promoting fracking, which is digging of oil. I don't get it. I didn't hear too much in that debate about Palestine other than what Vice President Harris has already said, and that's in regards to a ceasefire, which at this point, a ceasefire is literally the least that this government can do for the people of Palestine. I have a break coming up, and before I get to that break, I want to mention that at the very beginning of this year, I remember saying that we should not expect a normal election cycle. This is coming off the last election cycle in which the former president essentially incited an insurrection of sorts, in which we had what people have called the hillbilly horde invade the Capitol with the intention of taking out congressional members, senators, including the sitting vice president. Why did we think that this election cycle here in 2024 would be run of the mill? Why did we think that? This has been the wildest presidential election cycle that I've ever seen, that I've ever had the pleasure to participate in. Now, mind you, this is my third election cycle being able to vote in. I remember back in high school, my high school teacher once said that the best time then to invade this country would be during an election year because of all the chaos. And this election cycle has been chaotic. I'm so over this. I'm so ready for November to come. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. We're going to get right into the next break. Then we're going to finish up here. I'll see you soon.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
Hey there! Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
Welcome back to This Is What I Think. We're going to move on from focusing on the national level, and we're going to get right into the state. Now, I'm very big on civic engagement. I would say I cut my teeth. I began my activism in Statesboro during their election cycle, in which they were able, the people of Statesboro, they were able to elect their first African-American mayor, in Jonathan McCollar. This was after that previous election cycle up there, where the now mayor dealt with voter suppression. As such, it really drives home the fact that it is very important that, like I said earlier, that we utilize every single tool that we have to exercise and wield power. And so, like I've mentioned, we have an election coming up. And there are some dates I want everybody to be aware of. Number one, if you are not currently residing here in the state of Georgia, if you are outside the state of Georgia but still registered to vote here in Georgia, absentee ballot applications are now open. They've been open since August 19th. Please do not forget to fill those out. On October 7th, and it will be next month, a few weeks from now, those absentee ballots, the mail-in process, that begins, as well as the voter registration deadline. The last day to register to vote here in the state of Georgia for the November 5th election will be October 7th. October 15th, early voting begins. You don't want to wait till election day. You want to get it out the way. Do it then. October 15th through November 1st. That's the early voting period this year. The absentee ballot application deadline will be October 25th this year. And again, the last day of early voting is November 1st, and then election day will be November 5th. Speaking of elections, you know, the Republican Party here in Georgia, they were shocked in 2020 when President Biden won the state of Georgia. So much so, of course, we know Trump went to the Secretary of State and essentially asked him to find the votes, literally conjure the votes up from thin air to certify his victory. Excuse me. Of course, we now know that didn't happen. And so there have been a series of maneuvers that have been ongoing by Georgia Republicans, including new rules being introduced And as far as I know, more rules are set to be introduced. But the ultimate goal, because you have to understand the state election board, which is the body that are authoring these new rules, they don't necessarily certify the elections. They essentially give guidance to the local municipalities and county agencies. They give the guidance on how they need to certify their results. And so now you have both Democrats and Republicans suing, putting forth lawsuits to stop these changes from going into effect. Will they be successful? That's to be determined. Will they have any effect on this election? That is also to be determined. This is definitely something that we're going to have to wait and see. Like I mentioned, they've already introduced some measures. Now they are set to introduce more as the weeks come forth. I'll be keeping an eye on that. I encourage the people listening here to do the same. Mind you, that's just one area of influence we have: electoral politics, electoral organizing. So that's just one sphere of influence we have to really change what goes on here in our everyday lives. Another thing I want to talk about very quickly, of course, a few weeks ago, we had the latest mass school shooting, this time occurring here in Georgia, Winder, Georgia, Appalachia High School. Numerous people injured, of course, 4 people passed away. It has once again spurred debate here in Georgia and nationwide on the need for improved gun laws in this country. I'm of the opinion that the gun debate died in this country after Sandy Hook. That was over a decade ago. Right now, there is some conversation amongst both the Georgia House Democrats and Georgia House Republicans on what could be added, what could be done in the upcoming legislative session to tackle this issue. Of course, the Democrats, they want a little bit more of a comprehensive gun reform laws to be passed through, to be debated on. And from what I've seen, it seems like the Republicans, while somewhat acknowledging the need for something different, they're not necessarily willing at this time to consider improved gun laws, but they are advocating for special attention to be paid towards mental health. I will be looking forward to the upcoming legislative session for the state of Georgia. There are a number of different things that I'm interested to see the legislator act on. Something of the sort. With that said, if you haven't realized that today's theme is civic engagement, today's theme is elections. Coming down to the stuff that is happening here in Savannah, the things that most affect us every day. Number one, if you have not heard the news, I'm going to say it here now. For those in need or looking for some affordable housing options, you have the Housing Authority of Savannah. They've opened up their wait list for public housing. They opened that up at 10 o'clock this morning, and they will close it. They have it set to close tomorrow evening, September 17th at 4:30 p.m. or until they manually shut the applications down. But you have until tomorrow to apply for public housing, to apply to be on their wait list. Again, there's no guarantee that anyone will receive public housing if you're on the wait list, but it is there. It is open for those who are looking for that option. Also, elections have consequences. This is a reminder that elections matter, and the elections that we have here, that the elections that we have down ballot, and matter. They matter so much. Arguably, they matter even more than what's going on at the federal level, because again, all of the stuff that happens on the federal level trickles down to what happens on the state level, and it trickles down to what happens here on the local level. My producer's saying I got 30 seconds. Y'all, the DA's race here in Chatham County, that's up for grabs. The sheriff's race here in Chatham County, that's up for grabs. You have various seats on the Chatham County Commission that are up for grabs. You have all of the state reps, representatives, state Senate seats up for grabs. I'm thinking about Derek Mello. I'm thinking about Ben Watson. Yeah, Ben Watson, that's his name on the state side. You have congressional seats. Don't forget what's going on. Hell, people want to elect Kamala Harris to the presidency. How is she going to get any of her policies in if she doesn't have a Congress in to back them up? If you are watching, Patty Hewitt, Congressional District 1, that's your person. And that's about the closest you'll see me get to an endorsement of basically anybody. Maybe until next time. I only got 30 seconds left, right? Those seats are up for grabs. Be mindful that the presidency, it may be the big ticket item, but that's not the only race that matters here. It's not the only race that matters here. And with that said, this is a call to action for anybody who's listening. This is a call to action for myself as well. We need to start shifting the focus of elections here. We talk about elections taking place every year. Every 2 years, every 4 years, we need to start talking about elections taking place every single year, because every single year that I've been able to vote, there's been something on the ballot that matters, that's been important to the people of the cities I've lived in. Every election matters every single year. That's all I got for this evening. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. And this is what
I like that.